Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first video of my channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about one offer that has made us $300,000 in 9 months. This offer was a simple PDF that we sold as a printable. For those of you who don't know, my name is Dan and I'm the operator and builder behind multiple faceless offers like this. And I run our coaching program called The Wealthy Muslim with my business partner, Abdullah Ashraf. With that said, let's get started. In today's video, I'm going to talk about what we did in this offer. First of all, we are going to cover the market research. Let me just zoom in a bit. Okay. So first of all, we are going to talk about the market research. Then we are going to talk about what the offer actually was. Then we are going to cover the funnel and the page structures. Then I'm going to talk about the traffic strategy, how we get people to the whole ad landing page and how the whole thing was set up and categorized. And then I'm going to talk about few things that I wish I could do differently and things I would double down on if I was to run this whole thing all over again. Now, with that said, let's get started. And for those of you who are a bit curious behind what's behind this great thing, that's on purpose because I wanted to keep some surprise. Anyways, let's get started. So first of all, what we did with this offer was this was a printable PDF. Basically, we looked at what was already working in the market and we realized that we had basically a lot of people were going through religious books and they were Muslims, Christians, Jews, and those. And every religion more or less has a religious book that their followers can read. And then every follower wants to read the book. But in today's world, most of them do not have the time, energy, or resources to go through them. So what they do is they have multiple variations and types of books that explain the main book. Like this is present in the Quran and Muslims with the Quran. This is present with Christians with the Bible. Like there are multiple ways to explain what the actual teachings are in the book. So we looked at that and then we changed the format of those teachings. Basically, like most of the market was trying to read through dense books. So what we did was we promised something different. What we sold was that each chapter of the book will be turned into a one-page PDF or printable that someone can print and keep it next to them so that whenever they are about to read the chapter of the book, they can easily reference them and that can give them an easier understanding. This way, we basically what we did was we took all those long books and we changed the form of the whole thing in order to become something very simple. And then we asked the market about it. We verified it from our friends, family, and other people, and they told us that this is something that they're very eager to buy. Now coming to the offer. So on the offer side, what we did was we charged very minimum, like it was a $9.95 printables. It was a simple PDF. And initially we started from 4.95. There was an overwhelming response. So we took it to 9.95. And then we increased the AOV by adding bumps and upsells. That part is very simple. Basically, what we had for the bump was a book. It was a compilation of the printables and an explanation of the printables in a book format. And people really loved that. The upsell was more printables in different areas of the region. And then we split tested it against another upsell where someone can get through the entire printable in 7 days. Think of it as an acceleration program. So yeah, that was how we increased the AOV. Then we didn't have any bonuses for this. This was a very strong offer on its own. I don't think anyone had any objections to buying it as such. So we decided to go with the no bonus structure. Then coming up back to the funnel and the pages and the structures. Basically, the structure of the landing page was very simple. What we did was let me just write it down. What we did was first we had the headline, subhead, then the introductory paragraphs that introduced the whole why this product exists. Then we told them about the problem that everyone faces, how we discovered the solution, and then how our product was the bridge from problem to solution. Just move this over here. So yeah, this was more or less what we did. Pretty simple. And then the rest of the page was basically product review, testimonials. Initially, we didn't have any, so we went with no testimonials. Then we had the guarantee, and then the decal, and then the quickies. This was the entire structure of the landing page. Now, the structure of the checkout page was very simple. What we did on the checkout page was on the left, we had the order form, and on the right, we had bullets that were selling the product all over again. And then the structure of the upsell page was again very simple. First of all, congratulate them on what they bought, then tell them why they need the next product and how it relates to their purchase, and make sure that they don't feel as if they missed out on something on the front end. Tell them that it's okay if they, and even if they don't buy the upsell, the front end is well enough on their own. And then present the upsell. That's pretty much what we did. It was all text based. We didn't use any VSOs. And yeah, that's pretty much what we did. On the thank you page, we linked to the actual PDFs on the thank you page. What this did was it reduced the refunds to a huge extent. Now, for the traffic strategy, what we did was basically meta ads to landing page. That is what we got started from. Now, a few things that we did really well. We had the product demo ad that went really well. I remember back we drove almost like 20 million impressions on just one ad alone. So what we did for that was that our designer printed the entire PDF, bounded it, and then just held the camera over the top and then just went through the whole thing page by page. And this gave a very good product demo to anyone who was interested in getting the whole thing. Then the second ad that did really well was why this product exists. Why did we actually create that? And that was our founder-led video in which we were just talking about why this product should exist in the market in the first place. And then the other ad that did really well was this product versus others in the marketplace and how this is better than anything else going on. Now, all of these ads drove us almost 30, 40 million impressions, and just one ad alone was responsible for getting us 2x, 3x ROAS on the product demo ads. It varied between 2 to 3, but overall it works really well. Now, some of the things I do differently and things I double down on. First of all, one thing we missed out on since it was one of the first few offers that we launched and we were new in the game, so we didn't have anything recurring going on. Everything we had was brand new. So what we did was we didn't add any recurring. Now, if I was to go back in time, this is the first thing I would do. Add recurring somewhere where we can sell them immediately so we don't start the month from zero. Then the second thing we did, which we did once, but we should have done more, was that we paid someone, I guess, 500 pounds to create a small course. And then we sold that course to the email list and we made 15, 20,000 pounds just from that single course. Now, imagine if we had done that 10 times, easily 10x the whole revenue and all that. And then launching something high ticket. Now, this is something that, to be honest, we slept on. We didn't realize the impact of it. If we had gotten 10,000 people in our email list, and even if 1% of those converted, that's an extra 100K in revenue that we could have easily made if we had launched something high ticket. Maybe not in the first month, but maybe in the second month or the third month. Now, so one thing I would do differently is double down and spend more on ads without caring about keeping ROAS at 2.2. So what happens is that if you're spending like $1,000 per day and you're making that $2,000, so you are happy as you can be because you're like doubling your money every single day. Now imagine if we took the whole. Let me just do some quick maths for you. So you're spending $1,000 and making 2,000 back. That means we have a 2.0 ROAS. Now, for example, if we were to spend $10,000 and make back almost, let's say, $16,000. Now, and our ROAS drops, like we are not exactly making works on our ads. but instead we are making 1.6 ROAS. Now, looking at just the ROAS, the man looks like, oh yeah, $2,000 is better. But if you look at it from the point of view of how you can make and retain more money, then the 1.61 is much better. Now, I'm talking about per day. Obviously, it varies a lot, but overall, this was on a weekly average. If you were to come calculate the blended ROAS, this is what we came up with. Now, even now looking at it, if we spend $10,000 per day and we made back 16,000, sorry. So we are keeping $6,000 profit at 1.6 ROAS. Whereas on the other hand, in this case, we are just keeping $1,000. So obviously this one wins, but to be fair, it took us a very long time to understand this whole concept. In fact, it was a humbling moment when one of our mentors pointed this out that, oh, do you realize that you missed out on so much revenue when you could have made a lot more? So yeah, this is something I would do. Definitely, if something works, double down on it, triple down on it, increase your efforts on things that work. Now, the third thing is basically dive deeper into different avatars and angles. So this is more relevant when it comes to Andromeda and what's happening over there. But basically, what we did was we just launched basic ads that were just selling the product. We didn't dive deeper into different avatars or angles. For example, we could have created a landing page that just sold the whole product to busy moms. Or we could have created a landing page and ads that sold the whole thing to busy professionals who want to connect with their religion. Or we could have sold this whole thing to like converts or reverts. Basically, there were multiple different avatars and multiple angles we could have taken. Like we could have gone through Eugene Schwartz, like market awareness and sophistication level. We could have done all of that. But we didn't do that. Why? Because the thing was working so well that we were like, oh yeah, let's just keep running it as it is. And that is more or less all the biggest learnings we had from our first offer. I think it was not our first one, but more like the third or fourth one. So yeah, hopefully this helps. This is how we create the offers for other people as well, and for our own selves as well. First, we do the market research, offer, funnel / page structure, traffic strategy, and then we just launch it. If you're interested in getting more details about this, then let me know. Click on the links below, and one of our team members will get in touch with you. Talk soon. Bye.